you for joining us. Welcome to This Day. It is Saturday, April 25th. And I wanted to tell you who is going to be on our show today. We are going to have the City of Hope, and I was able to do a Zoom interview with one of their doctors there who's going to tell us a little bit about what it's like right now when you have to visit City of Hope. We're also going to bring you a segment from the towers. Kristen Orr is here to tell us what's happening over there, and they're having a lot of fun even though they're at stay at home. Let's go ahead and take a look at our weather. It's looking absolutely gorgeous this weekend. Today we're going to have a high of about 87 with a low 62. Very warm today. And then tomorrow it's going to be pleasant with a high of 81 and a low of around 60. And then on Monday it's still going to be just as pleasant, 78 and 60. And let's take a look at our sunrise and sunset. The sunrise this morning was at 6:08 and the sunset is 7:28. Now I actually sent this in because I thought this was an absolutely gorgeous picture. This is the bioluminescence that you can see down at the beach. So if you happen to wander down there at night, you can see that happening as the waves come in. So it's a really cool thing. It's because of the red tide. All right, right after this, we will go ahead and bring you City of Hope. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Well, today I have City of Hope's Dr. Misa Karimi, who is the Assistant Clinical Professor over at the Newport Beach Office of Medical Oncology. Is that correct? Did I say that right?
You absolutely did.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Well, thank you for joining us, Doctor. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting.
Now, I know that there are many people who are very concerned about traveling outside of their homes to maybe even come to your facilities for a treatment that they have been scheduled for some time. What are some things that you guys are doing there to help ease that discomfort people are having?
And that's a very good question. Of course, City of Hope, being a center that has a lot of experience with immunocompromised patients, we have put a few things in place to try to obviously protect our patients, or their caregivers, families, and staff.
Okay.
So we usually start with the health screening at the entrance of the clinics. Obviously, we're in touch with our patients. We always ask them if there's an issue, call us. We're very responsive through that to make sure everything is okay.
Okay.
At the door with the health screening, and then after that, we have minimized visitors policy at this point. So patients who come through will be assisted with our navigators inside the clinic, and then obviously all the questions that we speak with the patients about the exposure and what they're doing to make sure they're staying as safe as possible. So we do all of that with the experience that we have, and then follow up after the visit. Really try to minimize the fear, because it's a very difficult time.
Absolutely. And I think, unfortunately, people who may have comorbidities, even, such as cancer, they have discussed that it can be more severe for them, contracting COVID-19. So I can imagine there must be an awful lot of fear. So it's nice to know that you guys are taking all the precautions necessary.
Absolutely. And, I always say, cancer is not going to stop because of COVID-19. And sometimes we have to look at risks and benefits, and continuing treatment a lot of times is more beneficial. And again, with everything we do, try to minimize the issues and protect our patients and staff.
Exactly. What are some of the recommendations that you would have for someone who is in treatment right now, especially with the stay-at-home directives and that kind of thing? How would you direct them to take care of themselves?
So this is, I mean, the part of this is not new. We've always told our patients, you really are your own priority. So the first thing is take care of yourself. You have to stay healthy.
Right.
If you have support, minimize leaving your house or your residence. Mm-hmm. There's always others that are here to help with, family, support neighbors, to try to minimize leaving the house, going to grocery stores. So that's step number one. I think that's very important. If you do have to leave the house, so with the guidelines that we have for COVID-19, very important to follow those as far as facial covering, that's 6 feet distance, minimum distance. I think those are really important. Obviously, try to avoid people who are ill and not doing well. So we certainly talk to them about that. Patients who come into clinic, again, we protect them as much as we can, again, with the screening. And also, again, as you mentioned, they are immunocompromised when they're getting chemotherapy, and they could develop more severe symptoms if they contract the virus. So we talk to them constantly and ask them questions. If there's an issue, we ask them either talk to us or talk to their primary care physician if symptoms come up, and then follow them closely through this. Now, the other thing that we do is, we talked about this a little bit earlier about using telehealth. So we've started doing that more and more. Some telephone visits. Also, we have rolled out the telehealth over the last 2 weeks now. Okay. And I think that helps a lot. So this way, our patients don't have to expose themselves if it's not necessary. Obviously, if they're getting treatment, active treatment, in infusions or injections, we didn't see them in the clinic. But if it could be done with telehealth, we do that. And that certainly has helped to minimize their exposure.
And that's a great thing, because it seems that has really taken off over the last month. And insurance is now able to cover that, which is wonderful. It sounds like you guys have particular types of codes that you're able to use now, so somebody doesn't have to worry about, oh my gosh, how am I going to get charged for this? Maybe you could tell me a little bit about how that works, and then also how would people actually go about doing telehealth conferencing with you?
We actually use a platform that it allows us to do this. So the way it works is we ask for a televideo visit with the patient, and then our staff contacts the patient. Obviously, the first thing is the technology. Do you have access? And if they have the access, then the staff helps them register. And then once you're registered one time, then the next few times it's really simple. You have an appointment visit and you log in, and then we log in and we speak with the patients, and we again help them, support them through, technologically. If there's an issue, they don't have access to broadband or anything like that, then we usually do a telephone call. Okay. The first part of the question that you asked about the coding is, as you mentioned, now there are some codes that have been rolled out, and we can use those. And obviously, unfortunately, the COVID crisis has been instrumental in setting this up. But yeah, we've had numerous meetings that we've gone over this about the coding, and all of that is pretty much straightened out by now.
That's great. And I guess, sometimes it takes things like this to get us to the next stage. And there's been a lot of good things that come out of this whole situation. So that is certainly one of them. If someone did want to do a teleconference, how do they go about doing that? Do they call their primary doctor?
So if they want to talk to the primary doc, yes. So they call the primary doctor. If you mean if they haven't seen us before?
I guess if they have seen you before and they want to do a teleconference with you, would they just call? Who do they get in contact with?
They contact our office. So now These are patients. If we've been following them, we're actually converting some of our visits to telehealth. So what we do is really 1 week before for patients who are coming in for a healthy check, where is our survivors post-treatment who are doing well. So what we do is we review our schedule. The patients who don't need to come in or doing well, we have them go to their blood work. If they need to get an imaging study, CAT scan, X-ray, we have that all set up. They take care of those, and then we contact them. And once they're registered, we schedule them for a telehealth visit. And then they get on board. We review, all the data and talk to them and set them up for the next visit for, the next 3 or 6 months. If they are new patients, so we are looking at that sometimes. It's difficult if the patient wants to be seen, especially if it's a new diagnosis. We obviously don't say no. Absolutely, we have, because there are circumstances that patients really want to see you face to face.
Right.
And want to discuss the diagnosis. What do we expect? And there's a lot of emotional elements involved in this. So we do obviously provide that, and then the patient can make that appointment and come in for a visit. If they're getting infusion treatment, then obviously we try to minimize that exposure too. We have them come in the same day as infusion, review everything with them, and if everything looks good, they proceed with the treatment.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I mean, they have some options, which is very nice for you to be able to provide that for them. Now, obviously, we're speaking to you from the office that's, near here, Laguna Woods. You guys also are planning to roll out some more offices in the Great Park area. What do we have to look forward to with that, and how soon are we looking at it?
So this it's very exciting. The Newport Beach Clinic is really the first phase of a $1 billion project.
Right.
That's going to roll out. That will also include the cancer campus of the future in Irvine, as you mentioned, in the Great Park area, and also a network of care in Orange County. That will include these centers. Newport Beach Clinic is open, so we started seeing patients about 2 months ago to provide that cancer care. Irvine campus, we're looking at, from what I understand, towards the end of 2021 to open, but that also will be phases because it's going to be an extensive center for cancer care and for research in Orange County.
Right, and it's been great. We've had the opportunity to speak to Annette Walker and a variety of other people upon your grand opening, and it is very exciting for the county of Orange County and even San Diego for that matter, because people don't have to go all the way to the Duarte office, which I think that's kind of why you guys decided to move in here, is because you had many patients who were traveling up there. What does having that facility locally mean to you and to your patients?
Well, so as you mentioned, Orange County is the 6th most populous state in the nation. And about 20% of patients who are diagnosed with cancer travel outside of Orange County to receive advanced cancer care, and sometimes up to 2 hours. You mentioned San Diego, that's even longer to get to the treatment. So what we are excited about is that now we can provide that advanced cancer care right here in Orange County, and I think that's very exciting news. Our patients don't have to travel as far, and that's a service that we're happy to be able to provide.
Right. Well, that's great. And then also research, right? I mean, City of Hope is very active in lots of different types of research, obviously cancer and a variety of others. So, I mean, for our community, I think that's wonderful.
Absolutely. Again, so obviously research is pivotal in cancer care. And Irvine campus is basically built on the premise of this, that we provide state-of-the-art care as well as research for our patients, to bring the research from the bench into the bedside and try to provide the cancer curing treatments for our patients.
Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate it. Anything else?
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting, and we're definitely here to provide care. If there are any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. There's the City of Hope website, cityofhope.org/OC. But we're here to care.
All right. Well, thank you again, and you stay healthy.
Thank you. You do the same.
All right. Thanks. And we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Well, we've got some great information coming from Kristen over at the Towers. And even though we are on somewhat of a lockdown, well, they've got great things that they're doing over there to make it more normal. As you said, well, thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. It feels like a normal thing, like a little bit back to normal. So
I know. Well, this is kind of what we've been doing now. And I've had many of them, and we all feel like this is kind of the new norm. Well, yeah. But speaking of normalcy, I mean, we're not really in a normal circumstance. And yet, you know, you have many, many residents over there who are experiencing something they've probably never experienced before in their life.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, because a lot of times when events occur, they'll have stories to tell and say, oh, I remember when all this. But really the narrative for most people is, never thought I would experience something like this in my lifetime. And yeah, they're definitely going through it for the first time also, it is unique. Most of them have lived through everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So tell me then, as a whole, what are you guys trying to do differently to make them feel, you know, better about being in somewhat of an isolation situation?
Yeah, I think, you know, in a way, you know, obviously there are the disadvantages of communal living when you have a virus that's potentially spreading, but there are also advantages in the fact that we are a community that we're all isolating individually, but there's still a sense of togetherness, and that's what we're trying to kind of capitalize on. And so we're trying to figure out creative ways how to continue with our regular services and infusing the normal, fun, positive Towers energy. Okay. While doing things in a modified version. Okay. And so we're doing that with dining and housekeeping and maintenance and activities. Yeah, and so we're being creative, but overall the spirits are really high around here. So I think it's going well.
Well, that's good. And you know, you have a lot of people, like you said, you know, somewhat in a very close environment. And that's scary and good, like you said, all in the same thing. And what's nice is that our numbers are very low for, you know, COVID-19 as a whole in Laguna Woods, not necessarily just in the village, but as a whole, which is really attributing to, I think, what you guys are doing and what all of our residents are doing. I mean, they really are very good about staying home, and they're good about following the instructions. So, you know, I got to hand it to you guys because you have a lot of people in there, and so far so good. So good job. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah, we began with our precautions as far as limiting visitors and restricting common area use and going to in-room dining right in the middle of March. And so I feel like our board was just really wise and implemented some really smart precautions at what, looking back, I think was the perfect time. So in the rest of the village, I know, you know, we were kind of all in sync with that.
Exactly. So give me an idea of what they can expect now. Obviously dining is not the same. So tell me what you do now.
Yeah. Okay. So dining, rather than being in one of the two dining rooms, they're dining in their own unit, which, you know, that is probably something that some people choose to do 5 or 6 times a year. But they're doing it nightly now. And so that was an adjustment at first, but we're still trying to provide the same experience. So it's still a 4-course meal. It's delivered to them with beautiful, you know, plasticware and plates and all that, things that, you know, they're not normally used to either, but it's been interesting because we have had more compliments and just positivity surrounding food and food service than ever before. And I think it's created a sense of gratitude of, wow, we're in this extreme isolating situation and we're still getting this beautiful, wonderful food. And it's actually been really positive in that way.
Good.
And fun to experience that energy around food it's a highlight of the day for a lot of people. And so I'm
Sure.
glad that it's being enjoyed.
Well, that's nice that you kind of, you went out of your way to make it more of an experience, which my father is in a similar situation, not in this area, but same thing. He has to eat in their rooms, and it's tough for them
Yeah.
because they like to go to the dining room. They like to visit with their friends. And so I think that's good that you guys
Hard.
made it really special for them. So awesome.
It
What
is
about
hard.
what about activities? I mean, obviously activities have come to a somewhat of a halt, but you guys have found a really fun way to get things going.
We've been trying. So, I mean, and I think early on we realized that the activities are the portion that infuses fun and just really good energy in our community. And that's something we didn't want to lose when we knew we were going into a situation that would probably bring on some depressive feelings because of the isolation. And so we kind of put our heads together and decided that we'd be able to continue with a few things in a modified way that included social distancing. And so we still have our exercise class 4 days a week. And I actually have the honor of teaching it, which has been really fun.
Okay.
I love being in the mix with the residents. And so for me, this is just, I'm living on site right now. I get to see them in the hallways. It's kind of, it's been fun in that it almost feels like living the college life with all my buddies.
Oh, that's too funny.
But,
oh my God.
but obviously we're ready to be out of this period of time too. So we have an exercise class out in front of the building, and everyone sits about 10 feet apart. I would say probably 10 or 12 residents attend outside. And then because of the way that our buildings face, people can join in from their balconies. So we probably have about 20 people who open up their sliding glass doors, sit on their balconies, and participate in the exercise class. And it's somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes. And we do a boxing sequence, we swim, we jog, we lift weights. It's a lot of fun. Everyone leaves with a smile on their face. And then the other thing that we've been able to do, same with the same format, in that we have this big outdoor open space in front of our buildings.
Mhm.
From their balconies, people can watch below. So we've had Tony Rogers, who's one of our favorite performers, who just is such a happy, fun, talented guy. And so people have been able to enjoy concerts from Tony Rogers. We've had 3 so far and plan to have one every week until we're back to the norm.
That's great. And, and here on TV6, we're certainly trying to, provide them with things to do in their homes. So hopefully they're watching and
yes, a lot of them rave about the 8 a.m. exercise class.
Oh, good. Yes.
So I know a lot of people
got that 8 a.m. one, and then we've got lots of other things for them to do. I mean, obviously online stuff. I just came across something that I was going to advertise next week, is that on YouTube, Andrew Lloyd Webber, is his Broadway plays are being aired every Friday night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I'll be telling everybody about that next maybe tomorrow. See if I can squeeze
our residents would really like that.
And it's free.
That's cool.
That's what's so nice.
That's really cool.
So if they have YouTube, they can do that. But anyway, beyond that, you guys are still maintaining the building as needed. Tell me a little bit about how maintenance and housekeeping is working.
Yeah, we've shifted a bit with those services. First, with our maintenance department, normally they're available for handyman type tasks or minor issues. But right now, they're going into units for emergency issues only. So mostly water leaks, issues with pipes or backups in sinks, those kinds of things, to minimize the exposure that residents are having. Because a lot of our people that live here are really doing a good job respecting that ask to stay isolated within their unit. And so to bring extra people in, we felt like would be counterproductive. So they're only going in for emergencies. And then for housekeeping, we normally have every week, you have your housekeeper come in and do service, but we've suspended housekeeping service for now, but it is available upon request. So those who do want to, risk that little bit of extra exposure to have their house cleaned, have the option to do that. Okay. And the really cool thing that has done is then we do have more housekeepers left over, because I would say maybe a quarter of the people are utilizing that housekeeping service. Uh-huh. And so we have a full team, 18 hours a day, cleaning our common areas, which means our lobby, our hallways, the laundry rooms, the refuse rooms, the doorknobs, the elevators get cleaned twice an hour. Right. And so we're taking care of those areas that are being shared for people who do come out. Okay. And so it's kind of worked really well to allocate the way we're doing services for now in a lot of ways.
How is the overall demeanor of everyone living there? I know you said that they're liking some of the things that you guys are doing. I guess overall, you've got a lot of folks in there who, this is not the norm. So what's their attitude like?
Yeah, again, like it's kind of similar to with the dining, like I'm just experiencing, kind of sitting back sometimes and watching conversations happen that wouldn't normally happen, whether it's between staff and residents or residents together. It seems like people are just taking it as an opportunity to relax and enjoy each other a little bit more, especially enjoy the outdoors. We have some beautiful grounds here that leave plenty of space for people to have their own spot.
Right.
Our staff actually at noon and at 4 every day, we dance out in front of our flagpoles to, some sort of music, and people come out on their balconies and kind of dance along. So I really think we are thriving. It's interesting to say that, but I think there's a bond, when you go through something as a group together, even if it's something hard, this beautiful bond kind of arises. And we already had a good foundation for that here, but it's really showing in this time. And so overall, we're doing good. At the same time, we might look at each other and say, when is this going to be over?
Yeah. Well, I think everybody in the community has really come together, staff included, as well as the residents. I mean, everyone in Laguna Woods really has been great. And so it's nice to hear you guys are doing just as well.
Yeah, we are. And we also, the super sewers, or the sewing supers and the Laguna Woods Quilting Club have donated so many masks to our community. Good. And so I want to say thank you to them. We've got thank you notes coming to them and pictures and all that, but we've been really blessed by the community as a whole.
That is great. That's great. Well, gosh, thank you so much for sharing your information with us. You stay healthy, and
thank you. You too.
We hope we're out of this sometime very soon.
Yes, for sure. We'll see you in person maybe sometime soon.
I hope so soon. All right. You stay healthy, and good for you on all the good stuff you're doing.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
And we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Well, we've got a movie for you today, and it will be airing at 3 p.m. with subtitles and then 6 p.m. without subtitles, and it's the movie Cats. Now, this is a 2019 musical fantasy film based on the stage musical of the same name by Andrew Lloyd Webber, and the film became a box office bomb. It only grossed $76 million, but costing well over $100 million. So anyway, take a look. It should be fun, give you something to do on this warm day, Saturday. And again, that's 3 o'clock and 6 p.m. Then I wanted to tell you something else that's going on today, which is this evening, and it is going to be a concert, and you can listen to the music. Other than that, have a great day in the village. We will be back on Monday, and we will see you then. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye-bye.